Hi, hope everybody is doing well and getting ready for the Seder. I'd like to share with you different Torah from four sections of the Seder. We'll begin today with Halach Ma'anim. So your table is all set, your guests are all there, you've already done Kadesh, Orchos, Karpas, Yachat, you get to Magid, and now you're inviting people to the Seder. Whoever's hungry, come and eat. So strange. It's either people have a Seder already, or later they do not have a Seder already. What are we doing inviting people to the Seder at this time? So Jonathan Sachs, in the first answer, discusses a story quoted in the book of This Is a Man, written by Primo Levi, survivor of Auschwitz, and a well-known philosopher. He writes that after the death marches, the Nazis literally left them for dead, and they ran away. Fearing that people would come to get them. His small group, Primo Levi's small group, must have found an area or some type of house to go into in order to maybe light a stove and to get heat and to hopefully heal some of the people there. So him and two other people worked on this all day to get one of the ovens working. And when this was done and the oven was working and people can have some heat, one of the fellows there, a Franco Pole named Towarowski, suggested that the people who were benefiting from the heat give the three people working on this oven, who were working all day, their own food. And he writes, a day before, this would have been inconceivable. The law of the lager states that you should eat your own bread, and if you can, eat your neighbor's bread. But this, he writes, is the first human gesture that occurred amongst us. I believe that moment can be dated at the beginning of change, by which we who had died slowly changed from prisoners to men again. Rabbi Sachs writes that the true definition of becoming a Ben Chorin, becoming someone that's free, is sharing food. I quote from the last paragraph. Sharing food is the first act through which slaves become free human beings. One who fears tomorrow does not offer his bread to others. But one who is willing to divide his food with a stranger has already shown himself capable of fellowship and faith, the two things from which hope is born. That is why we begin the Seder by inviting others to join us. Bread shared is no longer the bread of affliction. Reaching out to others, giving help to the needy, and companionship to those who are alone, we bring freedom into the world, and with freedom, God. He writes that yes, at that point, everyone has their own meals, everyone's set for the Seder, but we're signifying here as to truly turn from avadim, slaves, to true free people, is people that share with others. This is one of the ways that we show our freedom during the Seder. The next idea on the same question of why we're inviting people to the Seder comes from the Haggadah called Matak Me'or from Rav Levenstein. He writes that very often, this is a very practical suggestion for your Seders, very often Seders are mixed between family and guests, whether those people are friends, people you really don't have at your Seder. And he says what can happen a lot is that certain guests don't feel so comfortable. They're afraid they're going to mess something up at the Seder and the table looks so nice, they might spill, and they're going to become very, very nervous. So he says this was established to invite guests, that they shouldn't be guests at your Seder. They should be an extension of your family. You should make sure that everyone at your Seder, especially for the person running the Seder, that everyone there feels comfortable to share their opinions, to share Torah together, share their thoughts on the Seder, and it shouldn't be run only by one individual with speech. It should be a night of discussion, of emunah, discussions of very, very important topics that we should be discussing together as a family. The second idea comes from the Manish Shana, but it really comes from a lot of different, it really could be addressed in different areas. I saw this in a new Haggadah that just came out this past year from Rav Ari Marcus, called from despair to destiny. Actually, it's from Aaron Marcus on the cover. And he quotes the Vilna Gaon. I couldn't find this inside the Vilna Gaon himself, but he asked the following question. You notice the Pesach Seder is the only night of the year where all the mitzvahs of the holiday are done at night. When it comes to shofar can only be done during the day. When it comes to sukkot, sukkah can be done at night, but the Daled Minim only during the day. Purim, the Ikar Kriyas Megillah, is during the day. Mishloach Manos, Suda, Matanas Yonim, all during the day. When it comes to Leil Seder and Pesach specifically, every single one of the mitzvahs of Pesach only is done at night. The Vilna Gaon addresses this in a strange anomaly. It says, "Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilos." Zeh is masculine, lashon zachar. It should have been, if Laila, right? It should have been lashon nekeva, Laila hazot. And the Vilna Gaon writes that nighttime, the night of the Seder, is really in the realm of daytime. We treat it as a day. We say Hallel at the Seder. Hallel is only said during the day. We say Hallel in Shul. It's a night, but it's really Bechinas Yom. The Sfas Emes says this as well. And he says this answers a very strange pasuk. The pasuk says the makor, the source for Leil Seder, is V'Yigadat Levincha Bayom. It's Bayom on the day. Why doesn't it say Balayla? It must be, he writes, that Leil Seder is like daytime. What does it mean it's like daytime? We say on Shabbos many, many times in the Mizmor Shir for Shabbos, Lahagi baboker chastecha ve'emunascha baleilos. That during the day we tell God's chasadim. Why? Because in the day represents clarity. Nighttime we have emunah. We believe God's there, but we don't necessarily see Him because it's dark outside. Leil Seder, it might be dark outside, but it's like it's light. It's a night where we see God clearly throughout history. It's a night of Hashgacha Pratis, of divine providence, where we see God's hand throughout history. So it's like it's Baboker Chastecha. The entire night we are telling God's chasadim. We're talking about how great God has been to the Jewish people for all of history, despite the night. Next, Dvar Torah comes from Maaseh Rebbe Lezer, from the Haggadah called "The Night That Unites" by Rabbi Aaron Goldshag. He asks, why is this part of the Seder? It's very nice that these rabbis got together in Bnei Brak, all studying together until the morning, but why is this part of the Seder? We should emulate them. What's going on here? Why did a group of outstanding sages join together to celebrate the Seder? He quotes Rav Kook saying the following. Rav Kook teaches that as Jews, we highly encourage shared study of Torah. The Talmud teaches that studying Torah in the company of others is ideal. The sages warn that private Torah study is not as ideal as learning with others, and may even be detrimental. Essentially, what Rav Kook is writing is that this is to teach us, this is a paradigm of what the Seder should be. It should be people coming together and discussing Torah ideas as a unit. And you shouldn't exclude any people. Many people may feel uncomfortable with the Seder. I don't necessarily go to shul as often as you do. I don't necessarily learn as much as you do. I'm not observant as much as you do, but everyone should feel like they are comfortable and they have an opinion at the Seder that they should feel comfortable to share. He writes, and I conclude over here, when someone secludes himself within his own close community, he's making a choice which restricts debate. Debate is very healthy within Torah, within developing Torah ideas. As a consequence, he will not be able to learn and benefit from the differing thoughts and ideas of his peers. It becomes nearly impossible to hear and accept dissenting views and opinions. Unfortunately, seclusion can lead one to divisiveness, producing within our community the opposite effect our sages strove for, bringing peace and harmony to the world. Rav Kook suggests then maybe this is my own words, a paradigm to what our Seder should look like. People should come from all walks of life into our Seder. We should feel comfortable to invite all different Jews to our Seder and have a healthy debate at our Seder. There isn't only one opinion how to read different parts of the Haggadah, and we should value those opinions in the Haggadah. Last idea for the short shir comes from Rav Ovadia Yosef. A question that I always go back to my Seder each and every year. It seems to be it's out of order. Rabbi Gamliel says you have to say these three things in order to fulfill your mitzvah of the Seder. Pesach, Matzah, Maror. And if you think about it, it's completely out of order. Pesach refers to the Korban Pesach. That's the thing that the Jewish people did on the last night they left the Seder. Matzah. Depends how you take it. Some people say it refers to the matzah that we ate in Egypt. In the Haggadah, we made matzah as the matzah that we ate when we left Egypt. And lastly is Maror. Maror refers to the bitterness of the slavery. Maror should have been first. Pesach and Matzah, it's debatable what the order should have been. But at the very least, Maror should have been first. Rav Ovadia Yosef first gives a halachic answer. And Rav Ovadia says that Maror is last to remind us that Maror nowadays is rabbinic. Why is Maror rabbinic and Matzah is biblical? Maror is rabbinic because it only becomes biblical when it's eaten with the Korban Pesach and with the Matzah all together, with which, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will be eating this year in Yerushalayim. And then he gives a second answer. And he says, as great as Yetzias Mitzrayim was, he says, the Jews still experienced many more experiences throughout Jewish history. And just, even though, as great as the redemption of Mitzrayim was, we've experienced many other more experiences throughout Jewish history. And it doesn't end until the ultimate Geula. And he writes, when was the ultimate redemption? That is signified by the Afikomen. We eat the Afikomen at a time called Safun. Safun literally means hidden, the hidden time. That's when we eat matzah again. Be'ezrat Hashem one day will be the Korban Pesach, but now we eat matzah again. Matzah represents redemption, Geula. So in the Seder itself, we parallel where Ovadia Yosef suggests Jewish history. We experienced the Pesach and the Matzah. We left Egypt with amazing miracles. God literally took us out with unbelievable miracles, changed the course of nature just for the Jewish people. But then, after many, many years in the desert, surviving miraculously, we experienced Maror after Maror. There was a Purim story. There was a Hanukkah story. There was atrocity. There was pogroms. There was inquisitions. There were holocausts. But then at the end of the Seder, when we get to the end, there's going to be another matzah, another positive time. That's Yemos HaMashiach, the time that we ultimately look for in Jewish history and Jewish destiny. I give us a bracha that we experience that Safun this year as we all eat together. We should all eat our Pesach Seder together in Yerushalayim, Yer HaKodesh, B'mheira v'yameinu. Wish everyone a wonderful Seder. I urge comments, questions on the bottom. I'm going to post this on Facebook momentarily. Please, if you want your Divrei Torah, I'll email you the sources. Have a wonderful and season Pesach.